The text came through on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my downtown office. Family meeting tonight. We're planning Mom's 60th birthday cruise. Don't bother coming, you can't afford it anyway. The message was from my brother Kevin. Always direct. Always dismissive. I stared at the text for a moment, then typed back, "Have fun." I added a smiley face and returned to my spreadsheets. My assistant Jennifer knocked on the door. "Ms. Zhao, the cruise line partnership reports are ready for your review." "Perfect timing," I said. "Let's go through them." Maritime Holdings was my largest investment. A boutique travel company specializing in luxury cruises and vacation packages. I'd acquired 60% ownership 2 years ago for $18 million. Last year we'd done $43 million in revenue. My family had no idea I owned it. Actually, my family had no idea about most of my life. To them, I was still Emily, the youngest daughter who dropped out of medical school and never amounted to anything. The one who worked some vague job they never asked about and lived in a small apartment they'd never visited. The truth was more complicated. I dropped out of medical school 7 years ago, not because I was failing, but because I'd discovered something I loved more than medicine. Business. Specifically, investment and acquisition. While my classmates were memorizing anatomy, I was reading financial reports. While they were doing rotations, I was analyzing market trends. By my 3rd year, I'd saved $30,000 and used it to buy a struggling food truck business. I turned it profitable in 6 months and sold it for $90,000. Used that to buy into a small tech startup. Sold my shares 2 years later for $300,000. Used that to acquire a chain of laundromats. Then a property management company. Then Maritime Holdings. Now, at 32, my net worth was approximately $57 million. But my family still thought I was a failure. Kevin's second text came an hour later. Family decided on a 10-day Mediterranean cruise for Mom. Adults only. Leaving from Miami next month. We're all contributing $3,000 per person. Since you probably can't afford it, we're not including you. Don't want to embarrass you. I read the message twice. Then I opened my Maritime Holdings database and searched for recent bookings under our family name. There it was, Zhao Family Celebration, 10-day Mediterranean cruise, 8 passengers, booked through Maritime Holdings Premium Partners. The booking had been made 3 days ago. Total cost, $48,000. They'd paid a 20% deposit, $9,600, with the balance due in 2 weeks. The credit card on file belonged to my father. I sat back in my chair and smiled. "Jennifer," I called out. "Can you come in here for a minute?" She appeared in the doorway. "Yes, Ms. Zhao." "I need you to do something for me," I said. "It's going to seem strange, but trust me." The next 3 weeks passed quickly. I watched the family group chat, the one I was conspicuously not included in anymore, blow up with cruise planning. My sister posted photos of swimsuits she was buying. Kevin shared screenshots of shore excursions. Dad talked about the specialty restaurants he'd booked. Mom sent one message, "I wish Emily was coming." Kevin's response, "Mom, she can't afford it. We're doing her a favor by not making her feel bad." My sister Lisa added, "Plus, it's nice to have a family trip without any drama." I muted the conversation and went back to work. 2 days before the cruise, the balance payment came through. $38,400 on Dad's credit card. I saw the transaction notification and knew they were fully committed now. I waited until the morning of departure to make my move. At 6 a.m. on departure day, I called the Maritime Holdings Operations Center. "This is Emily Zhao," I said. "I need to cancel booking reference MH47829. "The Zhao Family Mediterranean Cruise?" the operator confirmed. "Ms. Zhao, that cruise departs in 6 hours. The cancellation penalty." "I'm aware," I said. "Cancel it anyway." "Full cancellation. Refund the deposit to the original payment method, minus the 20% cancellation fee per our terms and conditions." "Yes, ma'am," the operator said. "Canceling now." I hung up and looked at my watch. My family would be at the Miami port by noon. The cruise departed at 2 p.m. This was going to be interesting. The first call came at 12:47 p.m. "Kevin." I let it go to voicemail. The second call came at 12:51 p.m. Voicemail again. At 12:55 p.m., Dad called. I answered on the third ring. Hello. Emily. Dad's voice was strained. We have a serious problem. What's wrong? I asked, keeping my voice concerned. Our cruise tickets have been canceled. All of them. We're at the port right now and they're saying the booking was canceled this morning. That's terrible, I said. Who canceled them? That's what we're trying to find out. The attendant says it was canceled by the account holder. But I booked these. I paid for them. What did the attendant say exactly? I asked. I heard Dad talking to someone, his hand partially covering the phone. Then he came back on the line. She says the tickets were purchased through something called Maritime Holdings, and that the owner of Maritime Holdings canceled the reservation this morning. Who owns Maritime Holdings? I asked innocently. More muffled conversation. Then Kevin's voice came on the line. The attendant is saying it's owned by someone named Emily Zhao, he said slowly. But that can't be you. Why can't it be me? I asked. Silence. Emily, Kevin said carefully. Do you own Maritime Holdings? I own 60% of it, I said. I acquired controlling interest 2 years ago. Why? The silence stretched for so long I thought the call had dropped. You own the company, Kevin finally said. His voice was flat. You own the company we booked our cruise through. Looks that way, I said. And you canceled our tickets. I did, I confirmed. Why? Kevin exploded. Mom's birthday is today. We have 8 people here at the port. We took time off work. You told me I wasn't invited because I couldn't afford it, I said calmly. You explicitly excluded me from a family celebration. So I exercised my right as the majority owner of Maritime Holdings to cancel a booking made through my company. That's insane. Lisa's voice came through. They had me on speaker now. You can't just cancel people's vacations because your feelings are hurt. Actually, I can, I said. Section 12 of the Maritime Holdings Terms and Conditions clearly states that the company reserves the right to cancel any booking at any time, for any reason, with appropriate refunds issued per the cancellation policy. This is Mom's birthday. Kevin shouted. I know, I said. I wasn't invited to celebrate it, remember? Dad came back on the line. Emily, please. We can fix this. We'll get you a ticket. You can come with us. There are no available cabins on that ship, I said. It's fully booked. I checked. Then reinstate our tickets. Dad said. Please. Your mother is standing here crying. This was supposed to be special for her. I felt a twinge of guilt at that. Mom was the only one who'd wanted me included. I'll make you a deal, I said. I'll reinstate your tickets under one condition. Anything, Dad said immediately. When you get back from this cruise, we have a family dinner. All of us. And everyone listens while I explain exactly what I do for a living and what I've accomplished in the last 7 years. No interruptions, no dismissive comments, no changing the subject. Done, Dad said. Absolutely. We'll do it. Kevin, Lisa, do you agree? I asked. Fine, Kevin muttered. Whatever, Lisa said. Just fix this. Hey, I said. Hold on. I called the operations center on my other line. This is Emily Zhao again. Reinstate booking MH47829. Full reinstatement. All original cabin assignments and reservations. Yes, ma'am. Reinstating now. I switched back to Dad. Check with the attendant. Your tickets should be active again. I heard movement voices, then Dad came back on. They're checking. Yes, they're saying the booking is active again. Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much. Enjoy your cruise, I said. I'll see you when you get back. I hung up before anyone could respond. For the next 10 days I watched the family group chat fill with photos. My family on the ship's deck. My family at the Colosseum in Rome. My family eating gelato in Florence. My family watching the sunset in Santorini. Mom looked happy in every photo. That made me feel better about reinstating their tickets. But not once did anyone add me to the chat. Not once did anyone say, "Wish you were here." They were happy to use my company's services, happy to have me fix their crisis, but still couldn't be bothered to actually include me. The bitterness surprised me. I'd thought I was past caring what they thought. They returned on a Wednesday. I waited until Friday to text the group. Family dinner Sunday at 6 p.m. My place. We had a deal. Kevin responded first. Can we make it another weekend? We're still recovering from the trip. No, I typed back. Sunday at 6 p.m. The address is 1200 Skyline Drive, Penthouse 3. Lisa, since when do you live in Skyline Tower? That building is like, super expensive. Since I bought my unit 3 years ago, I typed. See you Sunday. Sunday at 5:45 p.m. my doorbell rang. I opened it to find my entire family standing in the hallway, staring at my door like it might bite them. Come in, I said. They filed in slowly, eyes widening as they took in my apartment. 3,000 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows, views of the entire city skyline. Custom furniture, original artwork, a kitchen that belonged in a magazine. You live here? Lisa breathed. I do, I said. Please sit. Dinner will be ready in 20 minutes. I'd hired a private chef for the evening, partly because I couldn't cook to save my life, partly because I wanted the meal to be impressive enough that no one could dismiss it. We sat around my dining table and the chef began serving the first course, seared scallops with citrus beurre blanc. This is incredible, Mom said, tasting her scallop. Emily, this apartment, this food. How? That's what we're here to discuss, I said. You all agreed to listen. So I'm going to talk and you're going to let me finish before asking questions. Deal. Everyone nodded, though Kevin looked skeptical. 7 years ago I dropped out of medical school. I began. You all thought I was throwing my life away. You were disappointed, embarrassed, worried I'd end up working retail forever. Dad shifted uncomfortably but stayed quiet. What you didn't know was that I'd already started my first business, I continued. I bought a struggling food truck for $30,000. I worked 18-hour days getting it profitable. 6 months later I sold it for $90,000. A food truck. Kevin said. That's your big success story? Kevin, Mom said sharply. Let her finish. I used that $90,000 to invest in a tech startup, I continued. 2 years later I sold my shares for $300,000. I used that to acquire a chain of laundromats. Then a property management company. Then 2 years ago, I acquired 60% ownership of Maritime Holdings for $18 million. The silence was absolute. Last year Maritime Holdings did $43 million in revenue, I said. My personal net worth is approximately $57 million. I own this penthouse outright. I own 4 other investment properties. I have a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and private equity investments. Lisa's mouth was hanging open. Kevin looked like he'd been slapped. Dad was staring at me like I was a stranger. You have $57 million? Dad said faintly. Approximately, I confirmed. It fluctuates with the market. But we thought you. Mom couldn't finish the sentence. You thought I was a failure, I finished for her. Because I dropped out of medical school and didn't follow the path you wanted for me. You stopped asking about my life because you assumed there was nothing worth hearing about. Emily, we didn't mean, Dad started. When I bought my first investment property 4 years ago, I called to tell you. I interrupted. Dad, you said, that's nice. And changed the subject to Kevin's promotion. When I acquired Maritime Holdings, I sent an email to the family chat. No one responded. Not one person. Kevin found his voice. You never said you owned a $43 million company. You said you bought into a travel business. That could mean anything. You never asked for details, I said. You never asked what my title was, what my role was, how much the company was worth. You just assumed it was something small and unimportant because that's how you saw me. That's not fair, Lisa protested. Isn't it? I asked. Be honest. What did you think I did for a living? Lisa's face flushed. I thought you worked at a travel agency. Like booking tickets for people. And you, Kevin? I thought you had some entry-level job at a tourist company, he admitted quietly. And neither of you thought to ask for more information? To show any interest in my career? They both looked at their plates. Mom reached across the table for my hand. I'm sorry. We were so focused on our own lives, our own definitions of success, that we couldn't see what you were building. When you excluded me from the cruise, I said, it wasn't just about the money. It was about being told I wasn't good enough to celebrate with my own family. Being told I'd be an embarrassment. I said that, Kevin admitted. I'm sorry. I was so wrong. You were, I agreed. But you weren't the only one. Everyone in this family has treated me like I was less than. Like I needed to be protected from my own inadequacy. Dad cleared his throat. What can we do to fix this? Stop assuming you know everything about my life, I said. Start asking questions. Actually listen to the answers. And stop treating me like I'm your charity case. The second course arrived. Duck breast with cherry reduction. We ate in silence for a few minutes. So you really own Maritime Holdings? Lisa asked quietly. The whole company? 60%, I corrected. I have a business partner who owns 40%. We run it together. And you canceled our cruise because we excluded you? I canceled your cruise because I was tired of being dismissed by people who are supposed to love me, I said. I reinstated it because despite everything I do love you. And I didn't want to ruin Mom's birthday. Mom was crying now. You're an amazing woman, Emily. I'm so sorry I didn't see it. I'm seeing it now, Dad said. And I'm in awe, honestly. $57 million. You built that yourself. I did, I said. No family money, no connections, no help. Just hard work and smart decisions. Kevin put down his fork. I owe you a massive apology. Not just for the cruise thing. For years of treating you like you were less than us. We all do, Lisa added. She was crying too now. You're more successful than any of us and we were too blind to see it. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of apologies, questions and tears. They wanted to know everything. How I'd learned about investing, how I'd found the deals, how I'd managed to build so much so quickly. I answered their questions honestly. For the first time in years, my family was actually listening to me. Actually seeing me. When they left around midnight, Mom hugged me tightly at the door. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. Not because of the money. Because you believed in yourself when we didn't. Thank you, I said. After they were gone, I stood at my floor-to-ceiling windows looking out at the city lights. My city. The place where I'd built an empire from nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. Can I take you to lunch next week? I want to hear more about your business. And I want to actually know my sister. I smiled and typed back. I'd like that. Then Lisa. Same here. Coffee soon? My treat. Then Dad. I'm sorry I never asked. I'm asking now. Tell me everything. I looked at my phone at these messages from family members who were finally seeing me and felt something shift in my chest. It wasn't about the money. It had never been about the money. It was about being seen. Being valued. Being included. And now finally I'd canceled their cruise to make a point. But in doing so, I'd forced a conversation that was 7 years overdue. Sometimes the best way to show people who you really are is to stop pretending to be what they expect. Sometimes you have to cancel their tickets to get them to see that you're the one who's been driving the whole time.